Hey everyone, and welcome to Hollywood Hills, episode number 7 of the season. Now, just a few weeks ago, we had a very crazy situation, and it's strange to see this happen so early in the season. Not one, not two, but 3 events on the same weekend. They were EWXC, the first round of the 4x4 Cross Country Series, and the first round of the National Cross Countries as well. So it was super duper busy, and I thought, how are we going to handle this? The cool thing for you guys out there is that Hollywood Hills and Libex have a great partnership, and we worked well together. And on that weekend, we were able to divide and conquer to make sure that we have enough footage to work with. The main crew went out. Ivan was running the boys out there at the 4x4, and you saw what happened last week on the show. That was the big edit. We put a lot of time and effort into that one. Andy Pandy went out to the EWXCs, and then I went out to the National Cross Countries. So Andy was out there to make sure that we got enough information and a couple of tasty shots, and he is a great shooter, did a fantastic job on his own, one-man banding it out at the EWXCs. EWXC gave us once again the numbers on the page. So we weren't able to go out there and do the full edit, but for Hollywood Hills, we want to be able to make sure that you beautiful people know what's going on out there in the world of racing. EWXC, it was the Heinrich Aust show once again. He has gone 2 for 2 on the season now in the Pro Elites. Armin Faree is runner-up once again. He's going to get sick of this. 2 second places does not taste nice at the early part of the season. And J-Dog Jordan Cowley jumping out of the high schools and 3rd in Pro Elites. He'll be pretty happy with that in his first season. High schools, Joe Bauer was out there, Clayton Codd and Matt Battersby running the 1, 2s and 3s. Our own little John-Luc van der Westhuizen from Vans Racing, in his first ever EWXC, smashes the win in the 65s, and it was a banger race between himself, Alonso Foster, and Danny Klitzner. So well done to little JL for getting it done, and that still with stitches in his arm from the big crash that he took at Farm Jam the week before. In the Masters class, watch out for this battle. It is raging. The War Dogs are out big time. Rudy Kavina, Sean Kirk, and Franz Sepek, but it's Kavina and Kirk that are banging the bars big time. And then on the senior pros, Dwayne Barnard beating out on Richard Fenter and Vinny Labuskakny. But it was cool to go out there and just check out the new venue. Cullinan took the EWXC for their 2nd round of their 4-round championship. And thanks again to Andy for giving us his time to go out there and bring us back this insanely cool footage. Then I was out there with the beautiful people at the National Cross Country. That's now Trademore Group National Cross Country Motorcycle Championship. It's a bit of a mouthful, and I actually got roped into doing a little bit of mic work on the day because the people out at GXCC, so Miranda and Vian, they were very much involved in the running of this event out at Legends MX. It was so cool to see a lot of moving and shaking, a lot of sponsor changes, and a lot of guys moving up into the categories. So I got out there, I got as much footage as I could. It was a really, really rock and roll event as well. Nice to be part of because they run what's called a live pit, which is where the guys are just wide open down the pit lane. If they want to fuel, they can peel in. So the pit lane, as you can imagine, was not like GXCCs or Farm Jams or even EWXCs. This was a straight run, so it was like a 1 kilometer run pit. So thankfully I had the Shimwells TTR to get me around. So thanks to Zach and Styler for bringing that out for me. I really would not have been able to cope without it. I went out there and grabbed a couple of shots of the boys and girls, but on the results page, it was Brad Cox that got the job done. It actually looked like it was going to be Davin Cocker. He had on lap number 3 a 55-second lead over Cox. Now Cox is on a 450. Cocker is on the 250 Husky, so he was gone. He was definitely going to check out, and it looked like he was going to walk away with his first big overall. Unfortunately, he found a mud pool and jammed up. He lost his lead, and then whilst he was trying to chase his way after recovering from the mud bog, he went down in some rocks. Looks like he's ripped up his shoulder pretty bad. He did tag a finish, but it wasn't what he wanted. But watch out for Cocker, he's on fire. So it was Brad Cox that walked away with the win, and he took the OR1s because he's now moved up into the Big Banger 450s. Brett Swanepoel, after qualifying down in 10th, he was the first man that went out on the time trial, so he had to pull the bogey. He plowed the field and got 2nd overall, and he got the win in the OR2s because he's gone down from the 450s into the OR2s. And it was, unfortunately, Mike Pentecost had, by his very high standards, a bit of a rough day. He was on the podium, he got the job done, he brought it home 2nd wheel in the Big Banger OR1s, but he took a 5th overall. So it wasn't a track that suited his styles completely, so he wouldn't have been super happy with that. Matty Wilson, however, found a track that was to his liking. He's now on the factory KTM squad, and he walked away with a 3rd overall, his highest ever national finish, and it was the win in OR3s. So he's the championship points leader. So he's got the early advantage over Cocker. So it's going to be a very, very interesting situation to see what those guys do. Brett Swanepoel taking the win in the OR2s, and Scotty Haygate, getting 2nd place as a new signing for KTM in the OR2s. So very, very busy. Honorable mention as well to the guys on the Hondas. So the Cole brothers, who were picked up by Harry in the off-season, now running out of the sleepover CIT Honda Racing squad. Gareth on the Big Bangers, running 3rd in the OR1s, just off the back wheel of Mike Pentecost. So that's real good with not too much seat time on his machine. And his brother Hayden on the number 49 machine, he got a 3rd place in the OR3s. So 2 3rd places for the Honda boys. They'll be happy with that as well. And it was cool to see their dad come up there as well and make sure that they were all looked after. On the senior gate, one of the big stories is Kenny Gilbert coming back into racing full-time, getting picked up by the Pepsi Plastics Kawasaki squad. He's still not at full race pace, he's still not at full fitness, he's still got those issues with his dodgy dicky elbow, but he still was good enough to take the win in the seniors, and a very comfortable one at that, and just nonchalantly bringing it home for an 8th place overall. So that's real good. It's going to be a fight for the seniors this year. Wade Blau was good enough for 2nd place on his sleepover CIT Factory Racing Honda. 2nd place, he knows he's going to have to fight for the title this season. And then in the seniors, great story to see that we are actually having a little bit of motocross crossover. Wyatt Avis coming in and tagging that 3rd place. But he was on a 250, so he definitely needed a little bit more ponies. On the Masters category, big story for us. I'm a massive fan of this guy. I have been for many years, and he just was shocked to actually take his first ever national win. The Viking, Kobus Jonk, getting the Masters win, beating out the reigning champion, Greg Nen, and the still bent, buckled, and very much second-hand Wayne Farmer, just getting points on the plate in the early part of the season while he's still recovering. 3rd place for him. So the Masters battle is definitely one to watch out for. I think Wayne Farmer will come good as soon as his injuries have sorted themselves out. But Jonk on top was a great story for us. The high schools was a different story. Dylan Jones moving up and deciding to go full enduro this season, not to defend his title. So some new blood was going to be coming into play. Ross Ramsayer getting the job done on the 466, taking the win ahead of Kobus Bester. Bester, this is his first ever national on a 125, so he did really well. And Vian Wenzel, who was the pre-event favorite, battling with the pace, battling with the conditions, and only tagging a number 3 ride. So the high school gate has only just started. But Brad Cox was the main man on the show, and it was just cool to be out there and checking out how things ran. Small numbers, small entries on the nationals, but that's unfortunately what we've seen for the last couple of years. So that wraps up the triple header, because last week we had the big 424s, and this week we just wrapped up the EWXCs and the national cross country. So it was a super duper busy one. Thankfully, not too much happening the weekend after that though, but this weekend that just went down was another double header, at least for me anyway. Not too much happening on the production side, but obviously it was the second round of the GXCCs out at Rustenburg. Oh, and also watch out as well, because I was on the comms this week earlier, before I actually went into the double header, with Leon and Rowan, and they said they have been out to something like 5 or 6 new venues for Farm Jam, and they will be announcing all of the venues for the rest of the calendar over the next week and a half. So watch out for that, and as soon as they announce the new venue coming in for round number 2, me and the lads will roll up there and tell you exactly what to expect for the epic round number 2 of the Farm Jam Hare Scrambles. But those guys have been working massively behind the scenes, and we can't wait to see their new venue calendar, and of course, go up there and give them a big high five once again. Catch you guys later.